So what we need is to bring Nebraska back to what we had 20, 25 years ago, where policy was about the people. It wasn't about grandstanding and politics. We need to bring it back to the people and the policy and take out the politics and the party. Because all we hear is this us versus them narrative, and that's killing this country, and it's now ruining Nebraska's politics. We're not getting things done, just like at the federal level, and a lot of things we get done are just bad policy. And so if we all work together, if we bring everybody to the table, and we extend grace and listen to each other, like you and I don't have to agree on everything, and that's okay. But if I listen to you without giving my opinion and understand where you're coming from, then I can start to weave community because I understand you better, and lots of times you're angry because no one's listening. We never have to come to terms on certain topics, but we should work together. And so I want to see our government get back to that, because right now what I see in press releases and press conferences is we're against this and we're against that. But then you go to neighboring states and they're like, come and visit the mountains and see our beautiful lakes, and here's a great restaurant. We've gotten away from that in Nebraska. Nebraska has some really awesome things that our executive branch doesn't promote. And secondly, we've got to remember where the buck stops. When you look at things like the Alt-N plant in Meade, Nebraska, where the community and the aquifer and the water system leading to Lincoln, Nebraska has been poisoned with a heavy concentration of neonicotinoids. We cited them 13 times, NDEE, before we pulled the trigger on them. We still haven't done anything, even though we filed a lawsuit almost 2 years ago, which is very telling, I think, that we don't have to do anything. We could just not talk about it once we file a lawsuit. You look at that, you look at the St. Francis fiasco, where our foster children and system became collateral damage. You go back as far as Access, Nebraska, with DHHS, the prison overcrowding. We're the most overcrowded prisons in the whole United States. You look at all of these things that have festered, and you know they fall under one branch, and that's the executive branch, which is your governor. So where does the buck stop? When is somebody going to actually take responsibility for all of these follies and do something? Because you can't keep kicking this can down the road. We're going to get sued. We are complicit when it comes to Alt-N. That is our Flint, Michigan. Are they waiting for another administration to take over so they don't have to be responsible? I don't know. But what I do know is that we're going to implode. We're going to implode. We're going to get sued. And Nebraskans are the ones that are suffering. And people should be angry that they are being treated like collateral damage, and that big business is more important than their lives. The big business is more important than their livelihood. And that makes me angry, and I hope other Nebraskans feel the same as well. We don't need more of the same. When you vote for more of the same, you get more of the same. The fact that people keep accepting something different blows my mind. I think it's time for new blood in Nebraska. I think it's time for change, and I think it's time for solutions. And that's what I bring to the table. And I have a long track record of success from veterans and military families. I've passed more legislation for our veterans and military families than anybody in our body. I've had more interstate compacts passed, which remove hurdles for healthcare workers in a long list of fields than any other policymaker in the country. I did vote for the 2 biggest property tax relief bills in the history of Nebraska. Although I would say that middle class Nebraska, we fought for better tax relief for middle Nebraska for both of those bills and for the recent income tax relief. But of course, it's never really people like you and I that get those breaks. It's always the wealthier people in Nebraska and big business. You know, people need to wake up and look what's happening and remember what they're voting for over and over again, and that they're thought of in this part of the state as a for sure thing for whatever Republican runs. And I'm asking people, call me directly. I answer my own cell phone. There's no staff that answers it. My cell phone is public information. And I've done that since the first office I was ever elected to. I still have little old ladies in Bellevue call me and like, Carol, they didn't pick my trash up today. And it's like, okay, I'll take care of it. You know, I'm very accessible. So I don't have handlers. I run my own campaigns and always have, which is why they don't cost me millions of dollars, because I don't have to pay anybody. But I'm kind of like what it used to be about what candidates used to be. Like, we used to have to knock on doors. We used to have a small limit of money that you were allowed to spend. You usually wore at least one pair of shoes, if not more. Usually a set of tires if it was statewide. And I think we can get back to that and just make a better Nebraska together. Not for a party, not for special interest, not for whoever donates the most to your campaign, but for Nebraskans. And I believe that with all my heart. And I've shown that in every elected office that I've held.